If you are 18 to 25, you are cooked. You going to World War III. If you are 26 to 39, you are still cooked because the age cap's at 39. You going to World War III. If you have ADHD, you are cooked. You are going to World War III. If you have diabetes, congratulations, you ain't going to World War III. If you've ever been put in a mental facility, congratulations, you are not going to World War III. If you are in college, I'm sorry, you are cooked. They actually want you more for the draft because they want to put you in a specialized position. You are going to World War III. If you have a master's degree, you are cooked. If you dropped out of high school, you are safe from World War III. They don't want you. If you are a felon, you are not going to World War III. Now is the best time to be a felon. If you are LGBTQ, I'm sorry, you are cooked. You are still going to World War III. Now, if you're transitioning, you are safe. You are not going to World War III. If you are your only mother's son, I am sorry, you are cooked. You are going to World War III. If you are a woman, you are only half cooked because men are required to go first, but at any time, Congress can change legislation if they need more people. If you have kids, you are going to World War III. But if you're actively pregnant, you are not going to World War III. If you have major depressive disorder or severe anxiety, you got to be able to prove, it got to be documented, or you are cooked. If it's not documented, you going to World War III. Like and comment for part 2. If you have flat feet, I'm sorry, you are cooked. You're going to World War III. If you have autism, congratulations, you are safe from World War III. If you have anemia, you are cooked. You're going to World War III. They have iron pills. If you have bone spurs, you are safe. You're not going to World War III. If you have bad knees, but you're online doing squats, you are cooked. You're going to World War III. If you have scoliosis, you are not going to World War III. If you are overweight, I am sorry, you are cooked. Unless you weigh above 241 pounds, you are going to the battlefield. And if you're below 127 pounds, you are safe. If you are a nurse, you are half cooked. Unless enough nurses volunteer, you are going to World War III. We need healers. If you refuse to get drafted, you are cooked. You will go to prison for 5 years in Mine Rock. So if World War III only lasts 6 months, you need to weigh your options. If you have bipolar, congratulations, you are not going to World War III. They don't know whose side you're gonna be on. If you got $250K in the bank, you are safe from World War III. You just gotta pay a fine and you get to stay. If you are over 6'8" or below 4'11", congratulations, you are safe from World War III. If you have PTSD, you are safe from World War III. And if you are blind in one eye, you are half cooked. They might just give you a monocle, like for part 3.
Why do you think so many people...
Okay, you guys, the entire world is completely upside down with the Iran, US, Israel attack, so there's 2 major things to watch out for, so let's get into it. So as you guys know, there's been strikes in Tehran, Iran, Israel, and now even in the US, so let's talk about sleeper cells. Because in Austin, Texas, a possible sleeper cell might have been activated. Now, this suspect was 53 years old, wearing a shirt saying property of Allah, and he opened fired in a local bar, killing 3 people and injuring 14 others. Also, reports say that he had a Quran in his car. That seems almost too convenient though. Now, is this a real sleeper cell or is this an inside job psyop? I guess we'll never know. But here's the thing. A former FBI agent just gave a stark warning saying there's other sleeper cells linked to Hezbollah and Hamas that could be operating inside the United States because of the strikes in Iran. And another weird thing, why was the shooter's name trending on Google weeks before it actually happened in DC and Arizona? Fort Huachuca, anybody? Also, there was a mass stabbing near DC on a highway, so don't know if this is a sleeper cell or an isolated incident. I guess we'll find out. Also, I do find it kind of interesting, just a couple weeks ago in Iran, they torched this statue of Baal with America and Israel in mind, then the attack happens. Interesting. Now next, we have to address the money and really the entire global economy at this point. Now, China is being directly affected right now, being that they get a ton of oil from Iran, and here they are running military drills side by side. Not to mention, China gets 38% of their oil from the Strait of Hormuz, which is located in the Persian Gulf, which accounts for 20% of the entire globe's oil supply, or $500 billion worth. Which leads us to this. The UAE actually halts their entire stock market for 2 days because of the strikes. And this can't be good on any level because when this happens, investors start to panic. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Fed just last week injected $16 billion into the banking system, which means they knew this was coming. Now, when investors start to get scared, investors start to sell. So if they start selling US treasuries, the government has to buy it back, causing a bunch of other problems. So I would start to look into gold, silver, crypto, cash. I don't know about these banks. Now, there's a million and one other things going on, so I'm doing a bigger breakdown on my YouTube, The Maverick Approach. But let me know what you guys think about all this down below.
There are cells in Washington, D.C., all throughout New York City, and the entire state. So many that they say that they cannot identify the cities, just there are them everywhere in the state of New York. San Francisco, California, Santa Clara, California, Los Angeles, California, San Diego, California, Houston, Texas, Arlington, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Boca Raton, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Orlando, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Boston, Massachusetts, Plainfield, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, Cleveland, Ohio, Laurel, Maryland, Potomac, Maryland, Herdon, Virginia, Springfield, Virginia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Charlotte, North Carolina, Detroit, Michigan, Columbia, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, Denver, Colorado, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Tucson, Arizona, and Seattle, Washington. List of cities that we'd received from U.S. intelligence. These are the FBI sleeper cell locations where they believe that there are cells in various cities that should be on a heightened state of alert. Now, again, this was back in 2023, but we're seeing all of this coming back now as we're entering into 2026 because of everything that is going on. Let me know, are you concerned about potential sleeper cell attacks in the United States? We've been hearing this warnings for years, but now they're saying it is coming back again. It's getting closer potentially. So let me go ahead and go through the list for you.
Well, breaking this morning out of the East End, a mass shooting during an event at an East End music venue. We have team coverage for you this morning that have been on top of it overnight. WCPO 9 News reporter Jay Shakur is on Kellogg Avenue, Marlena Lang at UC Hospital. First, though, we do want to start with Jay. Can you kind of walk us through, Jay, what you know so far? We know that you've been on scene there for quite some time talking to police. What do we know at this hour?
Lauren, those 9 people that were shot, we're told, do have non-life-threatening injuries. It happened here at this venue, Riverfront Live. I'll step out of the way so you can see what's left here of this scene. Not much compared to what we saw earlier. I asked that they show that video, what we saw when we first got here. It's right at the intersection, this venue is, of Kellogg Avenue and Wilmer, outside of Riverfront Live, the venue where the shooting again happened. Inside, we're told, here on scene, there were over 10 marked and unmarked CPD vehicles. We do know right now there are 9 victims. Again, they are believed to have non-life-threatening injuries, and they have been taken to UC and Good Samaritan hospitals. We don't know the exact ages of these victims at this time. This call did come in at 1 a.m. The party here, we're told, on social media started at 10. We're still working to learn suspect information, obviously their identities, but also how many suspects there are. Lauren?
Still a lot of questions this morning, hopefully, that we can get answered. Jay, thank you. We want to get over to WCPO 9 News reporter now, Marlena Lang, who is over at UC Hospital. Marlena, I know it's still pretty early, but have you learned anything about the victims that were taken there?
Yes, good morning, Lauren. Just as Jay said, there are 9 victims that we know of so far, all thankfully with non-life-threatening injuries. We haven't learned anything new as of this time, but just like Jay mentioned, it was an event happening at the Riverfront, venue that, this all started at. It supposedly started at 10 p.m. is when the doors opened, and it was a DJ event called the Black and White Pisces Bash. And the 911 call came in just hours after the doors opened at 1 a.m. Now, according to the venue website, this venue is 16 and up. At this time, we don't know if any minors were at the event or, of course, if any of them were injured, because we don't know any of the ages, names, or anything for.
I want to check in with Fox 7's Meredith Aldis, who spoke with a man who was on West 6th Street when that shooting happened. She joins us live from downtown with the latest. Meredith?
Yeah, 15 hours-ish since this all happened. This scene is still blocked off. You can still see the police tape, and FBI is still out here. But last night, I talked to a man. He said Buford's was packed. He said it was shoulder to shoulder at one point. His name is Kelson Lee. He says he showed up to Buford's and met a coworker at around midnight. He says they split up. Lee went to another bar around the block. He says at closing time, though, a little before 2 in the morning, he went back to Buford's to try to find his friend. That's when the gunfire erupted. Lee says he doesn't know what compelled him to do so, but he walked into Buford's. He says it was chaos. He says people were lying on the ground. Some seemed to be grazed. Others weren't moving at all. He says the faces are what he won't ever forget.
You could just see a lot of people had a lot of fear in their eyes, and even more worry to the people that were trying to keep the people alive.
Lee says he's still thinking about his coworker who he has yet to hear from. He was not reunited with him last night. He says he's tried to call him a million times. He's hoping for the best, just hoping that he's still sleeping and hasn't responded to his text messages yet. The victims have not been identified yet. We know 3 people were shot, including the shooter. 14 people injured. Of those, 3 are deemed critical condition. Reporting live from West 6th. Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
Praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach. I want to give double honor to my apostles and elders that came before me that brought me into this truth. This video is going to be entitled Sleeper Cells Scattered in America. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to actually name it that because of the length of this title, but I'm going to hope so. So, seeing the Israel/US and Iran war pop off this weekend, there has been plenty of talks about the possible outcome of this war, the confusion surrounding this war, and really the misunderstanding behind why this even occurred. Again, ultimately this occurred because Israel wants to be the hegemony in the Middle East, and Iran is standing in its way. So that's why they continuously push for regime change, and they constantly try to allegedly take the side of the citizens of Iran and verbally attack the government of Iran in order for them to plant a plant in Iran to make it easier for Israel to take over that land, or really have it bow down to Israel, like the United States bows down to Israel. Right? Now, that being said, this weekend, you had a man open gunfire, out in Austin, Texas, and apparently destroyed or took out 3 or 4 people. Let's look at this real quick. Gunman, Austin, Texas bar. Let's look at this. Austin American Statesman. AP 4 hours ago. Fox 7 Austin. I think this is the best source. Austin 6th Street shooting. FBI probes attack as terrorism after 3 killed, 14 injured. The brief. 3 people are dead, including the gunman, and 14 others were wounded after a mass shooting outside a bar in Austin's 6th Street district early Sunday. The suspect was identified as 53-year-old Indiega Diagne. The FBI says the gunman may have had ties to a terror group. Now, if anybody saw pictures of the man, let me see if I can find it here. Let's actually, I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose it. X. Texas shooting. Yeah, here it is. Alex Jones. 7 hours before last night's mass shooting, terrorist attack in Austin, Texas, I predicted that Iranian sleeper cells would be activated and would hit Texas first. Now I'm predicting more attacks in the coming days and weeks. Now, Myron Gaines actually laughed whenever he saw, property of Allah being spread across this guy's hoodie. It looks like somebody put this shit on this guy. It looks like somebody put this on this nigga right here, man. Anyway, look at this dude, man. He don't even look like he wears hoodies. Right? Anyway, yeah. So, again, this mass shooting occurred. Now, there was another mass shooting that took place. Cincinnati. Bro. No. What is this? No, there was another mass shooting that was reported. I don't even know how to spell. Cincinnati. Yeah. Okay. Here it is. Fox 19, Cincinnati. Maybe I want to find the best one, but I'm not sure which one is local and which one isn't. We'll just go with this. 19 okay, no. We'll just go with this. 1 person critical, 8 others injured after mass shooting at Cincinnati music venue. Cincinnati, WXIX, 1 person is in critical condition and 8 others are injured following a mass shooting at a music venue on Cincinnati's east side early Sunday morning. The shooting happened shortly before 1 a.m. at 4343 Kellogg Ave, the location of Riverfront Live. Eight people were taken to UC Medical Center, according to UC spokesperson Heather Shura Smith. Let's look here. Overnight in the East End, our community was victim to a senseless mass shooting. Thank you to the officers on site, so on and so forth. Slovakia. The venue was hosting a birthday party, Post says. So there's just 2 mass shootings that have been reported. Okay. Now, let's go to Grok. We're going to go to this Grok overview here. Simply asking it the question, are there sleeper cells in America? Thought for 28 seconds. Here's what it came up with. Yes. According to U.S. intelligence assessments, law enforcement warnings, and expert analyses, there are indications and concerns about the presence of terrorist sleeper cells in the United States, particularly those linked to Iran and its proxies like Hezbollah. These are typically described as operatives who blend into society while awaiting activation for attacks, often involving espionage, assassinations, or terrorism. However, while threats have been disrupted, there is no publicly confirmed evidence of widespread active cells executing large-scale operations at this time. We're not going to get into all of it. We might go into this one bullet point here. Current heightened concerns in 2026. following recent U.S.-Israeli military strikes on Iran, e.g. Operations Epic Fury and Midnight Hammer. Officials have raised alarms about potential activation of Iranian sleeper cells in retaliation. For instance, the FBI has increased surveillance of suspected Hezbollah-linked cells, and NYPD is on alert for threats in New York City. Recent incidents like a shooting in Austin, Texas, and an attack in Canada have fueled speculation about Iranian ties, though investigations are ongoing. All right. Now, just reading that, there are numerous different areas that you can go on this. Okay. Now, before we go here, you can never forget this, man. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 9 and verse 24. Slakia. Oh man, I'm tripping, man. Job 9 and 24. I don't know what I was doing. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And clearly, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is the wicked. So you cannot ever think to yourself, you know, he wouldn't do this, that, or the third. Again, he is the wicked. Let's go to Sirach 12 and, I mean, who cares? We'll just go to 12 and 10 and close that up. 12 and 10 and the GNT. Never trust an enemy. His wickedness is as destructive as rust. Watch out and be on guard against him, even if he acts ever so humble. He is like a metal mirror that rusts away if you don't keep it polished. You see that one? So, Esau is acting as if, or Trump, specifically, is acting as if he is going to war with Iran on behalf of the citizens of America, as if to do them a favor. When in actuality, let's just go to it real quick. Let's just look for a poll, because Tucker Carlson mentioned that 80% of Americans were not in favor of this war a couple weeks ago. How many Americans are in favor of war with Iran? Dang, I didn't mean to do that. Let's look here. As of March 2026, polls indicate that only about 1 in 4, roughly 21 to 25% of Americans support U.S. military strikes or war with Iran, Al Jazeera notes. The majority of Americans, often around 43 to 49%, oppose direct military intervention, while others are unsure or prefer diplomatic solutions. According to surveys from Reuters, Ipsos, and University of Maryland. Let's go to Al Jazeera. Trump says strikes on Iran will continue until all U.S. objectives. Okay. All right. Anyway, polls suggest only a quarter of Americans support attacks on Iran or Iran. All right. Anyway, where are we at here? Look at that. The Reuters Ipsos poll suggests that the U.S. public does not share that view, with 43% of respondents saying they disapprove of the war and another 29% saying they were unsure. So you have, what is that? Like 72% of people that are not in favor of the war or unsure of military strikes or military intervention in Iran on behalf of the United States. Approval among Republicans was stronger, obviously, but not resounding, with 55% saying they approved of the strikes, 13% disapproving, and 32% unsure. All right. So this is your U.S. government not doing what is best for the constituents, and that's 100% okay. These are just the receipts. Okay, let me close this out here. Now, as we read in the Grok overview, there are quote-unquote sleeper cells allegedly scattered throughout the United States on behalf of Hezbollah, potentially, and Iran, and any other Iranian proxies. Now let's go to the main point here, okay? If you watched or you listened to the video that's going to be in the post-production, then obviously there are numerous groups that would be going into war, but there are numerous disqualifications of people that would go into war, or that would prevent people from going into war. And these qualifications are not anything that you would find becoming of a strong society, right? Men that have been to jail, not to say everybody that's been to jail is just inherently horrible people or just a horrible person, but if that person is going to jail, let's just find out. I mean, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Criminals, okay? This case in point, felons. People that are handicapped. People that are mentally unstable. These are the people that would stay here in America, right? So we're going to go to Isaiah 13, and then we're going to go in to this next concept here that I don't believe any brother in the truth is very unfamiliar with. Isaiah 13 and verse 11, and I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. This is not only going into the nuclear destruction upon the United States of America as well as its respective allies, but this is also talking about Jacob's trouble and the impending doom by the way of the famine, by the way of the RFID microchip being implemented on the earth, and the hardship that's going to come with the people that don't take that chip, the hardships that are come with the people that take that chip, and ultimately the ones that take that chip are just going to be all out destroyed. Whatever the case may be, the lead up to that is going to be at a whole nother level. Let's continue. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Now, why would it say that he's going to make a man more precious than fine gold? You're going to have numerous upstanding men that would take care of their families, typically. The man that would be the backbone of their family, even if their home is broken. A father that might be taking care of his child from a distance, or might have shared custody with that child or with those children. Or, not shared custody with those children, but shared custody with the mother or the mothers, right? And he would be more than likely be the sole proprietor or the sole provider for those children. And losing that man might throw a monkey wrench in any plans of prosperity for that family. Whatever the case is, men are going to be in a very sharp decline. You're not going to see many men moving around in an upstanding manner. Whenever you go into criminals, when you go into felons, revisitist criminals, just like in the Purge movie, right? You might have more than likely you're gonna have a situation like the Joker movie, right? You're gonna have the worst of us, or really just the worst of the Americans, the American males, be scattered all throughout America and causing mayhem and havoc, right? That's the only thing you can bet on. That's the only thing that you can assume. And that's what makes the most sense. You're going to start a war with Iran, and then you're going to proceed with dropping all kinds of, or speaking on numerous different sleeper cells, or propagating sleeper cells all throughout your country, and you are going to use these sleeper cells or these incidents behind these sleeper cells to say, we need to figure out who is who. We need to immediately implement a surveillance state. And your privacy that you thought you had, if you love it so much, guess what? Get out of the country. Get out of here. Just like during the C-19 situation, if you don't take this, this jab, then you don't care about your fellow citizen. You don't care about your neighbor, because if you did, you would get waxed or vaccinated, whatever you want to call it. Makes absolutely no sense, right? But you can clearly see that line of logic the same way you saw the line of logic leading up to this war with Iran. There was none. Trump is on record stating that he's doing this for the American people, when in actuality there is no capability of Iran outside of, not even proxies, outside of sleeper cells to cause any kind of harm or danger to the United States of America. Period. Okay, so, we're going to read that one more time. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. So, what is this going into? And what kind of man is that? Of course, your everyday man that's taking care of his family, but a man of the Lord, ultimately, that has that Spirit of the Most High moving him. That's going to be something that you're not going to be able to see very often, right? Let's go to, what is that, Amos 8 or Hosea? This is the book of Amos, chapter 8 and verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Adonai Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. And they shall wander and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. You see that one? So, in this time where you have men all over the internet, all over the street that are taking out our time to teach the scriptures, it's not going to be as accessible whenever the Lord causes the internet to shut down and he ushers in that famine of the word, to where your freedom of speech has been completely taken away from you because of things like the the Patriot Act. Is that what it's called? Let me take it up. Let me look that up real quick. Patriot Act, USA Patriot Act is a landmark U.S. law passed after 9/11 to expand federal surveillance and anti-money laundering powers. So, again, ushering in a surveillance state. Okay? That's where you have things like Palantir, the surveillance company, started by Peter Thiel, and spearheaded by, I can't remember his name. Let me look here. Palantir, not Mark Walter. Alex Karp, that's his name. Alex Karp, this guy here. My guy Alex, right? The CEO. Anyway, now I've been beating around the bush for long enough. Pressure from above and below. Let's go to it and dive deeper in AI mode. Is There it is. In physics, engineering, and political theory, pressure from above and below refers to opposing forces acting on a system, often creating a state of tension or movement. Now, let's go to the political and social theory. This concept describes how change occurs within a hierarchy or government. Pressure from above refers to actions taken by elites or international bodies to impose change. Examples include government-led revolutions from above, just like what the United States and Israel have been trying to do all throughout Iran. Even, matter of fact, we're not going to get off this just yet, but I do want to hold one thing on X. What is it called? U.S. hacks Iran. That's freaking crazy. What is that? Dang, man. U.S. Israel hack Iran. Dang, man. That story just came out. Just about. Daggone, man. That's okay. Iran TV. Who knows? Oh, look at that. There we go. Gulf News. Goodbye. Iran TV hacked by Trump. Netanyahu, then blackout. Look at this. Dang, they gonna flood me with ads. Okay. Anyway. Destiny and to unleash the prosperous and whatever. An Iranian TV channel has reportedly been hacked by a pro-US/pro-Israel cyber attackers amidst the ongoing conflict with Tehran. It features a 36-second video clip showing an Iranian television channel, reportedly IRIB-TV3, typically broadcasting football events, suddenly interrupted by a split-screen broadcast. The video uploaded on March the 2nd, 2026 by the Russian-linked RT_com site on X, so I knew I wasn't tripping, shows U.S. President Donald Trump on the left appearing at a podium with an American flag, wearing a U.S. cap and delivering a speech. Persian subtitles. Whoa, there it is right there. Okay, beautiful. Let's play this. And of course, I don't own any of this content. This is all for fair use and for educational purposes only. Here we go.
Is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it.
So these people are trying to destabilize Iran, not only from sending bombs or missiles over there, but they're also trying to destabilize it from within by getting its citizens to turn on it. All right. And so let's go to what do we got here? Yes, here we go. So, key context and evidence. Current heightened concern. Okay, pardon me. That's not what I was looking for. We were using Gemini. Okay, political and social theory. Pressure from below. Oh, let's start out here. Pressures from above refers to actions taken by elites or international bodies to impose change. Examples include government-led revolutions from above or external pressures from global institutions like the UN or World Bank. Pressure from below refers to grassroots mobilization or popular movements. This is the force of the common people or marginalized groups pushing for change against the existing power structure. So, of course, the ongoing theme, or the the unfortunate reality over the last few years is the horrific economy in the United States of America and the tanking of the US dollar, or at least the value of the US dollar, right? And the massive amount of inflation, not only with your goods at the grocery store, but with rent prices skyrocketing. The housing market is in a complete, I don't even know what you want to call it. It is stagnated and it's a complete decline. It is atrocious. Nonetheless, the United States has done a wonderful and excellent job at obliterating the middle class to the point where you would have to be upper middle class to be making it on your own. Right? Now, Slovakia, man, excuse me. Now, the throughout the job market, a lot of people aren't getting hired. Unfortunately, there has been a ton of layoffs that have caused a lot of people to become homeless, and that's a terrible situation to be in. But what's an even worse situation to be in is working and still being homeless, to the point where you have a concept called the working homeless. We're going to go to that for a moment, and then we're going to go right back to the Gemini overview, or the AI overview of pressure from above and pressure from below. So, working homeless. Oh, AI overview. Let's see here. This is a Reddit post here. Terrible. Poverty finance. We're not going to read this entire thing. I work full time and I'm still homeless. I don't know how much longer I can do this. I work full time. I make about 2 racks a month, and when I do overtime, maybe $2,500, and it kills my body. And still, I live in my car. Rent in Florida is unbearable. Just trying to survive and stay safe as a woman has left me drowning in credit card debt. The interest alone is over $1,200 a month. That is freaking insane. Imagine having to pay a rack plus, every month just based on credit card debt. That's horrific. Just to provide a bit of insight, I've been in credit card debt in the past, but the most I've ever paid is probably like $30 to $40 something a month. That's horrible, and that's something you want to get out of immediately. That is atrocious. And if you're making that much money in an economy like this, to the point where, and actually, honestly, living in your car is probably the best thing to do. That's probably the best thing to do. Or just getting in a situation in which you don't have to pay rent. That's the best scenario you can find yourself in. If you make 2 racks to $2,500, and you have $1,200 a month in interest you have to pay, that means that you're done. You're basically done. You're cooked. Okay? That's horrendous. And it seems like this person has made a tremendous amount of faux pas when it comes to their spending. That's horrible. That is horrible. I don't even know what to say about that. Whatever the case may be, let's go to this. This is November 29th of 2025. The skyrocketing cost of living has left millions of people struggling to afford a place to live despite working at full-time jobs or a number of part-time jobs. Journalist Brian Goldstone, author of There Is No Place for Us, Working and Homeless in America, joins Ali Rogan to discuss the growing nationwide crisis. John Yang, the skyrocketing cost of living has left millions of people working at full-time jobs or a number of part-time jobs, still unable to afford a place to live. Ali Rogan is back with her conversation with journalist Brian Goldstone. Blah, blah, blah. We're not going to read this entire thing, but the point is made. Again, the skyrocketing cost of living has left millions of people struggling to afford a place to live despite working at full-time jobs. How horrible is that? You're working a full-time job, but you still cannot seem to afford to pay for, shelter. Okay. Now, let's go back here. Refers to a grassroots mobilization. And that goes to the reason why I wanted to go to the working homeless, because whenever you deplete the middle class, then there will be a somewhat of a natural uprising, or what you would call a grassroots mobilization, right? Because the people, the citizens of America, are going to feel marginalized. You have fruitcakes, weirdos in the government that are getting away with all kinds of debauchery and covering up for those people that are in this debaucherous lifestyle. And at the same time, you launch a war with Iran to cause more inflation throughout America without the people's approval and without even trying to explain or justify the reasoning behind wanting to go into war with Iran, or justify this reasoning with Congress. Okay, in the midst of this, you still have an horrendous economy, and if people can get hired, that's fine, but they still can't afford to live in a home, whether it's an apartment, whether it's an actual house. Just horrendous. The squeeze strategy, often associated with the Marxist, Leninist tactics. This involves applying pressure from both directions simultaneously to collapse the system using official state power alongside mass street agitation below to force a total transition. And that's where you have your sleeper cells, right? Your sleeper agents, whatever you want to call them. That's where you have the different facets of these surveillance, basically surveillance going into play, and snatching people up indiscriminately for doing petty crimes. All kinds of nonsense, man, is heading this way. And it's a beautiful thing to see, because whenever you have a country like this, whenever you have a kingdom like this, whenever you have the world ran by the wicked, that means that this place needs to go, it needs to be destroyed, and it needs to start over with a righteous king. And the Most High is definitely going to implement that on the earth, whether you like it or not. Okay? Now, a concept that Elder Apostle Gabar always goes into: order Okeo, I think it's Order Okeo. Nah, that ain't it. Order out of chaos. Order out of chaos. We're going to go right back to the AI mode in Google, which is Gemini. The phrase order out of chaos refers to the emergence of structure, meaning, or stability from a state of disorder. Depending on the context, it serves as a scientific theory, a philosophical motto, or a specialized methodology for organization and negotiation. Right? So that's exactly what's being brought down the pipeline. They're creating all kinds of chaos, whether it be Epstein files, whether it be the Iranian war, whether it be these sleeper cells that are being spread out throughout America. all this is just going to come down to the culmination of what we know as the MOTB. Let's go to it real quick. Revelation 13 and verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. A what? A mark, which in the Greek is a charagma, which is a cutting or etching in the flesh, in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell. So again, you're going to get this mark in your right hand or your forehead. And if you don't have this particular mark in your right hand or your forehead, what's going to be the consequence? And that no man might buy or sell. No man might what? Buy or sell, say or accept he that had the mark. So if this person has the mark, then they can buy or sell, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Right? So let's go here. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark. That had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So completely bowing down to this disgusting, wicked kingdom is going to immerse you within that MOTB. All right, where is it at here? Charagma, a stamp, an imprinted mark. Here it is. Thing carved, sculpture, graven work. Right. Look here, of idolatrous images. And yes, indeed, it is committing idolatry, getting that MOTB. But nonetheless, this has been, I can't even, it's so late, I can't even remember what this is called. But sleeper cells scattered throughout America. I believe that's what I named it. Order of chaos, or order out of chaos, pressure from above and pressure from beneath. Keep your heads up and on a swivel in these last days, because Esau has just a short time until this place is completely destroyed. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakwakadash. I want to give double honor to my apostles and elders that came before me, that brought me into this truth. Until next time, to the hopeful elect out there that's putting in this work, continue. Brothers, I say shalom.